Rodgers and Hammerstein wrote There's Nothing Like a Dame, and lucky enough, we've got one tonight. The world-renowned choreographer, Dame Gillian Lynne.
There's a glass of red wine which we can have later. We've done our job.
She's choreographed ballets, films, television, Phantom of the Opera, Cats.
Elaine and I have worked together since 1964 when we did a fantastic musical called The Roar of the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd.
And I played a Chinese urchin. Don't ask.
Elaine, as an urchin, is very naughty, very feisty, and she had the best voice of all of them.
Gillian Lynne is the most fantastically energised woman I have ever worked with. She was really the first person to encourage me as a young artist starting out. She took me under her wing.
I've been through many productions with her and I've sometimes shouted at her. She shouts back, but we have that sort of friendship that goes deeper than anything else, and I admire her as a performer.
Gilly, or should I be saying now Dame Gillian, shouldn't I?
Gilly.
It's wonderful, congratulations by the way, but I will always think of you as Gilly because, well, listen, we've worked on a couple of shows together, haven't we?
We have.
I wanted to ask you how many you think you've choreographed.
I think it's over 50.
Wow. Yeah. It's quite extraordinary. But obviously, I have to talk to you about Roar of the Grease Paint,
Indeed.
Smell of the Crowd, Leslie Brickers and Anthony Newley's show.
Wonderful.
That's where we first began together. And then many years later, with Cats.
Indeed.
Of course. Did you see I brought the remnants of Grisabella?
Why has she brought her old trash with her?
Well, I wanted to conjure up some memories. Oh, did I really say that? Oh. But actually, I've got also, aside from Grisabella, I've got my leggings that I wore. Do you remember? I think I'm right in saying that it was your dancers in your dance rehearsals were wearing leg warmers, weren't they, to keep their legs warm?
It was early on in the pre-work, which I was doing in Chiswick, and John Napier,
the designer,
who's a wonderful designer of Cats, used to pop in and see what we were doing to get ideas. And he came to me one day and said, Gilly, why do you wear those fluffy woolen things on your legs? And he said, is it to keep you warm? And I said, no, it's to make our legs look sexier and longer.
Yes, of course.
So he said, well, I'll do it for the show.
And that's what inspired him to use it in the show? Wow.
Absolutely, just rehearsal.
So you're a kind of designer on the quiet as well.
On the quiet.
It just does take you back, doesn't it? Cats, 1981.
Yes, can I just say that having seen that again, I've now realised why I have 2 metal hips and a metal foot.
But that choreography, I mean, it's hardly surprising. I mean, that choreography was groundbreaking for that time because the British performers, I seem to remember, we weren't used to that kind of level of dance for starters, and certainly to sing and act and everything else. You know, the triple threat thing didn't really exist then, did it?
No, it didn't, and it was very, very hard to find the cast. And we travelled all over England to find them. And I was using, as you see, a mixture of classical and jazz and modern, like that, and then they had to sing as well, so it was really tough.
I remember the opening
Go on, do
move.
it.
Well, I don't know if I can do it. Hang on to me. But it started
off... I should tell her if she's no good.
That would be rubbish now, but I remember I had to do this... What's that called? That's a rond de jambe. That's what we did to start. A rond de jambe. The rond de jambe, and then I had to go like that.
And now get disappointed, yes.
It's pathos, I tell you, pathos. That's about it. That's all I can do. Now, tell me about this other thing that I read about. There was a certain move or a certain piece of dance that you created called the Princess Louise. Why is it called that?
Because in this traffic jam where I was forced to wait, I was outside a pub called the Princess Louise. So I'm there in my car doing... Other people who...
Passing by must have thought,
no, we were all
she's crazy.
And then I rushed back to Chiswick, where we were doing the P work, and said to everybody, throw everything down, just watch what I'm doing. And I taught it straight off because I thought
you thought you'd forget it. And now it's in every show that Cats is all over the world.
That bit's quite famous. Sometimes I'm doing another show somewhere, and I hear two actors say, or actor-dancers, what about that Princess Louise bit? That was hard, wasn't it? And so extraordinary. It's got a name.
Listen, you know what? We must have done something right, because here we are. It ran for, what, 21 years, that show? 9,000 or something performances. We did something right.
We did.
Oh, thank you so much.
My naughty little urchin.